Hi, I'm Steve Shelburne, owner and operator of Shelburne RV here in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee. Well, we're back on this bright Monday morning. Mr. Lewis has already tore into this Winnebago we got sitting over here. He did a little diag on it on Friday, so he kind of knew what direction to go on it. I've been down here dealing with some other stuff in the office, but he's got it out, and I guess he's ready for me to look at it. Let's go take a look. All right, so he's got it out. You can see how nasty this one is. And it's got some cancer going on right there. The whole bottom's falling out of it. Of course, the duct tape did a real good job. But we're gonna have to go in here and do some metal work on this. Try to get this back up and going. Now, we went ahead and updated the PTCs. Somebody had gone in here and put hard starts in it. We don't want to do that. We want to put the PTCs back in here and run it like it was designed to do. So Mr. Lewis is gonna get out here and get it cleaned off. They're actually in the midst of getting the outdoor bearing changed. You can see this thing barely spinning, so got a problem with that, and the capacitor was low, so we're going to change that also. So now that we got it all tore apart, you can see how bad this thing was rusted out. I mean, it's gone. This thing has been a problem for a while. So got in here and built us a nice piece of anodized aluminum. We're going to go in here and cut that out and put that in its place. Some of the places on the sides that were all messed up, we went in here and patched all those in. So we'll have it back together here shortly. All right, so we've got that in there now. You can see how all the nice bent metal. This is going to be nice and rigid once we get everything bolted back up, but they've got it all bent and back in here now. One of the other problems is we're going to deal with, of course, that rotted out the bottom of this, an indoor fan. So they're building a piece of metal for that now. Mr. Lewis has got the unit back in. Now you can see where we went in here and rebuilt all this, and they've got everything taped and good heat. Let's go inside and see what kind of temps they got. Well, we had 21 degrees differential inside the unit on that one, so it's running all good. And you can see that one was pretty rotted out as far as what was going on, but you know, that's what you run into, that occasionally. But yeah, it's working good now, and that customer is on his way. Well, we got the new controller, the new Trinity controller for the Imagine in yesterday, and it was a little bit different than the one we had in there. So they got it installed, and it won't communicate with the touchpad on the outside. So it won't sync. So called Leopard. Well, that's supposed to be a plug and play. You're supposed to just put it in there, sync it, you should be good to go. Well, after 45 minutes on the phone with them, they finally decided that there was no program on the Trinity, and that we needed to pull the programming off the old controller, which means I got to reinstall it, pull it off, and then put the new one in, and then upload the program into the new Trinity. The problem is I got to have a Leopard one-touch screen to be able to do that, because the one-touch screen has the micro SD on it. So they're like, well, just go rob one off a camper in the yard. Well, unfortunately, at the moment, don't have any here that have the one-touch screens. So the only way I'm going to be able to do that is I'm going to have to buy a $500 screen to be able to download the product, the software, and then re-upload the software to make that work, and then get it to sync. So what a nightmare. You know, well, you should have one of those in stock. I work on maybe 2 of those in the last 5 years. So, you know, here I got to buy a $500 screen to do a job that's going to pay a half hour. So, gotta love that. So, we're going to get rolling this morning. Look who just walked out of the building right there. What are we doing, Cousin Gary?
Battery's dead on that.
Gotcha. We're going to get rolling. Let's go in here and take a look at a few things. Mr. Lewis has got this 6537-671. with a new compressor in it. It checked out 20 degrees differential, so we're getting ready now to ship it back to its home. All right, so you saw we got this one all finished up. It's wrapped up, ready to ship out to the customer. Now, I made a mistake. I'm not against admitting my mistakes. I do make them every once in a while, but this gentleman, of course, this unit sat down in Florida for several months because whoever he had trying to work on it couldn't fix it. And so he called me from Massachusetts, wanting to know about getting it done, because obviously a little frustrated. It sat at the other place for so long. So I told him I'd get it under control and I'd call him when I had a price. Well, it came in, I had a bunch going on, 2 new employees starting, and then I knew he was, frustrated, been sitting for so long. So I knocked it out without calling him. So, that's my bad. You guys seen what I do around here. I'm not trying to rip anybody off, not trying to take advantage of anybody. And again, I told Mr. Spike I'd call him, and I didn't. So he's a little frustrated with me at the moment, but hey, I made a mistake. It is what it is. I got to do better. It's just part of it. So anyways, it happens, but his unit's ready. So lesson learned. Well, I've been gone for a few minutes doing some other stuff down in the front office. Let's go in here and see how Mr. Lewis is coming on this Coleman with the slide. Let me show you what's going on here. Well, you can see he's got the slide in, the fascia's all in. Looks like he's got the sealant work done on it. So they're inside right now doing that. Let's go inside and see how they're coming on this. All right, so they've got the carpet in. Now you can see where that floor was messed up. The customer did not want to do nothing with that. So they've got the carpet in. They're working on the fascia trim at the moment. Another project we had in here this week was this freshwater tank that was leaking, and you can see where the crack's at right there. And so the other problem is our friends at Icon, they don't exactly have the same tank, and they don't have it where this fill hose is right here. They've got the fill hose on the top. Now, what I'm going to do is I actually have the spin weld fittings. This is the one that's got the threads for this right here, and then this is actually the fill one. And so what we're going to do is when this one comes in, I've actually got spin weld caps that will cover up holes, kind of like this. And so then what we'll do is we'll cut that one off. We'll spin weld a cap on it, and then we can come in here and spin weld this in wherever we want to put that at. And I'll show you guys when we do that. It's pretty neat, because it looks like, if you really look at these tanks, and if you guys have looked at some of these on your own coaches, you'll be like, well, I wonder what kind of glue that was they used. And there's no glue. We put this, there's a tool that holds this, and we put this in a router, and this thing spins so fast that's what happens. It gets so hot that it melts all that in there. So when we get close to doing that, we'll kind of show you guys what's going on with that. So another project we're working on in here, doing some quoting on this Forest River Wildwood, and customer was saying that there was water getting inside the coach. Now, look at that right there. So the boys have been out here doing a seal tech test on it. Well, the sealant's all gone here. And then look at the sealant right here. Look at this. You can see how good that sealant was working right there. That stuff's all just, that's all it is. And there's none right here. And so water's been getting in this, and you see how bad this wall is. So yeah, this is kind of a critical deal, and all this stuff. And these metal campers are tough to seal. We've talked in other videos about that, because trying to get all this sealed up, this whole rail's leaking. That whole rail's leaking. We went through and seal teched all this, and that's really the only way you're going to find a lot of these problems in this metal cladding like this. And so this thing's just got lots of problems, and this is a conversation that's going to be kind of painful with the customer, because that's going to take a lot to fix that, and that's a lot of work. But all this stuff, this one's not as bad, but it's still obviously got some problems. So yeah, I'm going to have to call them and have a conversation with them about this, about how we're going to resolve some of this. So I'll show you real quick how to tune Cousin Gary up. It just happens sometimes. That's what you got to do. Isn't it right?
Yes, it is.
So one of the next projects the boys have been working on is we have this little Geo Pro, little small camper. You can kind of see Little small bumper pole camper with a Furrion air conditioner. Now the customer brought it in and stated that it wasn't cooling correctly and that there was a problem with the air conditioner. Now you can see this camper is it's not an extremely large camper. It does have several windows, but it does have a 13.5 Furrion air conditioner on it. Now people always ask me, how do you know my air conditioner's working right? Well, again, and we've talked about this in several other videos, you've got to look at the discharge, the differential temperature from the discharge. And case in point, now here's the checker that we've been using. 75.6 is what the room temperature is in here right now, and then I've got the thermometer in the vent up there in the ceiling, and we're running 42.1 is our discharge temperature. Now obviously that's pretty cold. A lot of people try to use those laser thermometers, and I can tell you, any of the manufacturers, if you call with a warranty issue, they do not like for you to do that. They want you to put a mechanical thermostat in the discharge. Now typically if this one had lateral ducting where it had vents in the ceiling, I would put it in one of the vents. This is a non-ducted system, so the air is coming right out of the lower assembly. So I've just got the thermometer there in the lower assembly taking the discharge temperature. So, this is a conversation I'm going to have to call with the customer and have a conversation with him about, because it's obviously working, but if you're in and out of that door a couple times, all your cooling effect's gone out of here. But again, it's only 13,500. And it's Furrion. So might have to have the conversation of, maybe we need to update to a 15,000 BTU Coleman, and then we can hang meat in here. Another project Mr. Lewis is working on here. We got this Fleetwood bounder that came in, and the customer had tried updating air conditioners on this thing. And this is the, of course, the style that Coleman doesn't make no more. It's multi-zone thermostat that operates both air conditioners. And he'd gone out and bought the new updated thermostat that was supposed to work with that, the new micro air thermostat. The problem is that J-box up there's got a problem. So we're actually just going to put a thermostat back there, and we're going to mount a thermostat right here on the wall. And Mr. Lewis is actually going to run the wire from there. That vent goes all the way down to the TV. We can run it through there, across the cabinet, and mount the thermostat right there. So we have a thermostat there, and then obviously the one in the back. So that's what we're working on at this moment. Another project the boys have been working on over here. We got this Georgetown Class A that came in, and hydraulics weren't working correctly on it. And we got to looking at it, and it was just a nightmare. Let me show you what we got. All right, so you can see the hydraulic pump right there. Now, these, of course, the nice new 4,000 PSI lines, but look how these lines have deteriorated over the years. I mean, every line in this thing is like this. So they've got the new line run to the hydraulic cylinder, and the customer actually thought the cylinder was leaking. We got to looking, and the hose was spraying all over the cylinder. Let's go over here and check out with Mr. Lewis. He's been working on this Fleetwood bounder with the thermostat retrofit we're doing with the going from the old style thermostat to the new style. Let's look what he's got. Okay, so he's got the new air conditioner running, and you can see we mounted the thermostat right there, and he's working on the second thermostat now. One of the challenges we ran into was the fact that these are our furnace wires. This thing's got two furnaces. So this is furnace number one. That's the front furnace. This is the rear furnace. Now this is good for us on the rear furnace because it's right there. But that's got to be tied with that thermostat way up there. So we're gonna have to get creative when we go to get that working. All right, so they've been working on this for a few minutes, and they told me they are ready to test. You can see they got the new lines in there, and they're going here and get all this cleaned up. But now they've got the new 4,000 PSI Parker lines in there, so they can start checking that. And the bad part is, it's just one of these things where it's just timed out. We're starting to see more and more of that, where the hoses are just, they're just failing. It's just, this guy bought this unit, got a deal on the unit, but that's what happened. I mean, now he's stuck fixing it. And that's a pretty expensive little fix. I mean, those hoses ain't cheap, obviously. So, it's just what you got to do sometimes. And he understood that, and he was okay with it. So we got him just about ready. We're going to start testing that first thing Monday morning. All right, well, that's going to finish us up here this week at Shelburne RV. Appreciate everybody watching. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for all the phone calls and all the messages and the comments from last week. I enjoyed talking to each and every one of you. You guys are so kind to call and tell me how much you've enjoyed the video, so that's awesome. So thanks for watching. Tune in next week, and remember that this video is Cousin Gary approved. You guys take care.